But we just heard that story in the news bulletins that police chiefs have just come out and criticised Number 10's decision to allow pubs to stay open until 5 a.m. on Sunday, or rather into Monday morning for the Mexico versus England game, saying that police forces have been left high and dry. The National Police Chiefs Council say that the late announcement mean that officers would have to be taken away from other duties and work longer hours, even though the team's likely route through the tournament has been known for a considerable time. Well, let's now speak with Stephen Roberts. Stephen is former Deputy Assistant Commissioner at the Metropolitan Police. Stephen, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Good afternoon, Ayesha.
What are your thoughts on this decision and how it was arrived at and the timing?
I think the timing is deeply unfortunate, and it creates additional difficulties over and above the difficulties caused by having licensed premises open until 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm sure that the chief constables don't want to appear as killjoys, but I think it's perfectly reasonable that they point out both to the government and to the public that there are real-world consequences for this decision, and for this decision being made late.
And the point that was made from the National Police Chiefs Council is that it would have been, anticipated this game, so that if this decision was going to be made, it should have been communicated and discussed earlier with police forces.
Indeed, it should have been, because there are arrangements that have to be made. I mean, the sad fact is, however many appeals are made to people's good nature, however many appeals are made that people should only drink within their limits, the fact is there will be a lot of drunken people about. There will be more fights spread across the country. There will be more bad driving and consequential accidents, because some people will drive after they've had too much to drink. And I'm afraid we should also expect more domestic violence incidents as a result of this. Now, all those things can be planned for. That sort of demand can be planned for. But there is always a price tag in terms of additional overtime payments for officers, or simply diverting them away from what they would ordinarily be doing, serving communities. But the more time that you have to plan for that, the easier it is to do it, and frankly the cheaper it is to do it.
And I suppose that the real point behind this is, as you say, you don't want to be like killing the vibes and being the fun police, but at the same time we know that police forces are really stretched across the country. We know that police officers are really, thin on all the things that we want them to do, from tackling antisocial behaviour, shoplifting, violence against women, all of these very serious things. And it does take time to organise rotas and people's, if they've been working a long week, when people take time off. All of this does require a lot of planning in advance, doesn't it?
Well, it's a lot easier and it's a lot less unpleasant for officers if you have time to plan it. But the reality is, and all police officers accept this, that they accept that they, on occasions, will simply be told with no notice whatsoever, I'm sorry, you thought you were going home at 10 o'clock tonight, but you're not going home till 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm sorry, I know that normally you do an 8-hour night duty, but today it's going to be a 12-hour night duty. That has all sorts of knock-on effects. In terms of family life, in terms of morale, and in terms of payment. So, yes, these things are all part and parcel of policing. But this particular case, it means that the problems are dispersed right across the country, potentially. We don't know how many pubs will and how many pubs won't take advantage of these new licensing hours. It will be well known where the fan zones are going to be. And hopefully there's been some planning done for that. But it's a widespread problem. It's not like an isolated incident. It's right across the country.
I just got a couple of messages in. Sarah's messaging saying, I worked in hospitality for 35 years. It's not just police, it's getting the whole team to suddenly work extra, booking staff and booking door security for pub operators. Insanity. But a little bit of pushback, Stephen. I'm going to just read a couple of messages. Kieran says, I don't pay the police through my taxes to make decisions on social policy. They should spend less time criticising elected politicians and more time doing the job. And Steve from Surrey says, the police always have an excuse. They want us locked indoors. What do you say to these people who are quite like cross about the police coming out and being critical of this?
I think they will expect a police officer to turn up if they dial 999 and ask for a police officer. Now, that's going to take longer on this particular occasion, not because the police don't want to turn up, don't want to provide service, but in the real world, decisions like this have consequences, and the consequences of this decision and this late decision are that whatever people may or may not want from their police service, it will be a reduced service simply because officers are going to have to be diverted to deal with the results of extended hours.
And look, Stephen, just paint us a picture about, how things are with policing at the moment in terms of resources and morale at the moment, because it feels like we are asking more and more of our policing. There's a lot of frustration as well with things like antisocial behaviour, shoplifting, all of this stuff. What is the sort of state of the nation with policing right now, would you say?
It's under stress, as all public sector, as all public bodies are, simply because there isn't, and there never will be, enough money to go round for every service to give the service that it would like to give. The health service has the same problem as the police service. Everybody wants to do a better job, but in the real world, there has to be a list of priorities, and something has to come at the bottom of that list of priorities. And the public don't like that. Everybody wants the thing that they think is most important to be the most important thing for their local police service. Sadly, there are too many things to be done in the police service, and this does impact on morale. Police officers generally come to work because they want to do a good job. They want to serve their communities. They want to keep people safe. And they are constrained by the resources that are available. They're spread pretty thin at the moment. And
of course, we do want our police to do more. And final question, it is actually Awareness Week on antisocial behaviour. It's been something that politicians have been talking a lot about. Full disclosure, I've raised this in the House of Lords on many occasions, particularly things like shoplifting and street crime and things like that. Do you think the police are starting to take this more seriously again now?
They've always taken it seriously, but again, it comes back to what I was saying about what's your list of priorities. If something comes into the news about child abuse, quite rightly and understandably, that will be, you should be dealing with that. Nothing should get in the way of dealing with that. If there's an upsurge in disorder, if there's an upsurge in this sort of mass shoplifting, people want that dealt with immediately as well. But it's the same group of officers, it's the same pool of officers, the same resource that have to deal with all these different things. And the job of police leaders and managers, the easy bit is saying, oh yes, we'll deal with that. The hard bit is actually deciding what you're not going to deal with, or what you're going to deal with more slowly, or what you're going to deal with not quite as well.
Yeah, it all does come down to resources and prioritising. And as you say, well, it's a bit like politics. People are always disappointed that their issue is not the one that is furnished with enough. Stephen, very interesting to speak with you. Thank you very much for your time. That's Stephen Roberts, former Deputy Assistant Commissioner at the Metropolitan